So every Championship club's longest serving player, who are they and how would I rank them? Let's find out. Guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. We got a bit of a different one coming at you today, but as always, if you do go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. It's always massively appreciated. If we could hit 300 likes, that would be greatly appreciated. And just before we do hop into anything, I must give a big shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. So if you're not already, make sure to go and check out the OneFootball app, link down below. Now, there's really never been a better time to go ahead and check it out. We're in the midst of the January transfer window, so with all those rumours currently circulating, you can get live updates to your phone whenever a goal goes in, and as well as that, read up on all the latest stats from players at your club and around the footballing world, so check it out down below. So here are the tiers that we're going to be putting these players into. Now, we're not really judging them against each other, we're more judging them against other players who are at your football club. So they're either a crucial first teamer, a starter, they're in and out of the first team, they can still do a job, or it's time to go. It's time to go! The longest serving player from your club, which category would you yourselves put them into? Without any further ado, let's jump into this one. Starting out with Barnsley's Alex Mowat, and I don't think there's really any other category that we can put him into other than crucial first teamer. I think he's been an integral figure of this Barnsley squad and their resurgence of getting back up from League One. Barnsley have been blessed over the years with some fantastic central midfielders, you know, thinking back to their League One days, they had Ben Pearson on loan, they've had Josh Brownhill on loan there, they've obviously had Conor Hurahan, who was brilliant in his time there, but the latest of which is Alex Mowat, and he's very much the centrepiece of this Barnsley squad, and actually one of their more experienced players at only 25 years old. He is their longest serving player, and it's going to be a massive blow to this side when he eventually does move on, if he does make that next step in his career. But for the time being, I think you have to say he's a crucial first teamer, brilliant player, and I think he'd get into the vast majority of other Championship sides. Let's next go to Norwich City's longest serving player, that's Alex Tettey, signed for them in 2012. He's made over 250 appearances for the club, and these days may not be the regular starter that he once was, but I still think he has a role to play within this side. I think in terms of Norwich and their midfield, it's always going to be Skip, who's playing week in, week out, and then they've then got the conundrum, who'd you partner him alongside, I think, depending on the game really. But 4 starts for them this season, then 8 appearances off the bench. You'd probably say he's still very much a useful player for them, and he's in and out of the side really, isn't he? Let's next go to Reading's longest serving player, that's John Swift, signed for them in 2016, obviously just now coming back from a long-term injury. If I was to have made this video this time last season, without a shadow of a doubt, I would have had him in that top tier. You know, his creative stats were right up there amongst some of the best playmakers in the Championship last season. However, in his absence, I think that Reading have done fairly well and showed that they can still function as a team without John Swift. You know, I think it's really been with the emergence of someone like an Elise this season where they've managed to get by without him. He's definitely a starter, but is he as crucial now as he once was? I don't know, I'd still put him into that category, but yeah, we'll see. I am looking forward to seeing how he functions in this new Reading side when he does get back to his peak fitness. So we then go to Coventry's Jody Jones. He initially went to Coventry on loan in the 15/16 season, and then they signed him the year after. He's had a really torrid time over the last couple of years, especially with injuries. He's hardly played any football, to be honest with you. Just 8 league appearances in the last 3 seasons now. Right now in his career, with the amount of injury setbacks he's had, I don't know if he's going to get that extension, so you'd probably say reluctantly it might be time to go. Next up we'll go to Millwall. Sean Williams, very much been the heartbeat of this Millwall side for almost a decade now, played for them since 2013. However, this season his minutes have dropped off considerably. You know, they like to go with that midfield too, and preferably if we go out so far this season, that seems to be Ryan Woods and Ryan Leonard, hasn't it? So obviously Williams hasn't quite found himself playing as much football so far this season. So for that reason, you'd probably say that nowadays his role is more in and out of the first team rather than being that regular first team starter. Next up we'll go for Preston North End's longest serving player, that's Paul Huntington. Been at the club since 2012 and is now just 1 appearance off 300 for the club, which is some going by a player who countless times throughout his North End career, to be fair to him, has been written off both by fans and managers at different times, but he gets brought back in from the cold and always does a job for us. He's happy to come in and out, and every now and again can still step up with a big performance. So yeah, I'd say for Paul Huntington, can still do the job just about. And the same could probably be said for Swansea City's Wayne Ratledge as well. He's not played all too much football this season. The vast majority of his appearances have come off the bench, but he is someone who I imagine will chip in with the odd goal here and there. Obviously did screw in the FA Cup the other week as well, but he's been at Swansea since 2011. Even at the age of 36, I'd say he can still do a job. Now for Brentford's longest serving player, this one may surprise you a little bit, but it's actually Rico Henry. Been at the club since 2016. They signed him from Walsall, and what an addition to this Brentford squad he's become. You know, undoubtedly right now one of the best fullbacks in the Championship. If Brentford don't get promoted this time round to the Premier League, you feel like Rico Henry may be the next one off that conveyor belt to make the next step up into the Premier League, because undoubtedly he's good enough. You know, he's in that bracket as one of the best fullbacks in the Championship, as he has been for the past couple of years now. I think this one goes without saying, he's a crucial first teamer for Brentford. Let's next go to Birmingham's longest serving player, Michael Keefton-Bell. Obviously Preston playing Birmingham tomorrow. One of his finest moments in a Birmingham shirt was that worldie he scored against Preston that Declan Rudd somehow didn't manage to save. But been at the club since 2015, and maybe a little bit similar to Paul Huntington at Preston actually, has been written off quite a few times, always manages to come back from it, and when he is brought out of the cold, always puts us in a battling performance. You know, really tenacious defensive midfielder. For Keefton-Bell, he's in and out of the squad and he does quite a good job. Next up we'll go for Cardiff's Joe Ralls. Been there all his career, one of the longest serving players in the Championship. 2011 was when he signed, I think, his first pro contract with them, and for Joe Ralls, he's probably one of the few Cardiff midfielders who's capable of consistently chipping in with goals and assists. I'd say he's pretty much a guaranteed starter for them most weeks, isn't he? Maybe not a crucial first team, although Cardiff fans may disagree with me, but I'd probably throw him into that category. Derby County's longest serving player goes to defender Craig Forsyth. His minutes have been a little bit limited so far this season. Obviously Buchanan's been trying to make that position his own, but he has come in and out of the squad so far this season. I think it was last season when, actually against Preston, when he made his return from that injury. Someone like a Forsyth and his experience towards the tail end of this season with the current situation that Derby find themselves in, he might find himself getting used more and more as the season goes on. So right now you'd probably say he is in and out of the side, isn't he? QPR's longest serving player is goalkeeper Joe Lumley. Been there since 2013, all his career actually, with several loan spells dotted throughout. Obviously I think that right now QPR have found the answer to their goalkeeper troubles. Sonny Dieng's been absolutely fantastic for them so far this season. I think that by all accounts did fairly well in the first half of the season out on loan at Doncaster. I think that a move to a League One club probably would be the best thing for his career at the moment. So for Joe Lumley, for the sake of his career, it's probably time to go. Let's next go to the longest serving player that we're going to talk about on today's list. That's Wycombe's Matt Bloomfield. 36 years old, and he's playing his first season in the Championship for Wycombe this season. He's been there since 2003, which is absolutely staggering. Way over 500 club appearances for Wycombe, which is an absolutely fantastic return. I mean, he's got to go down as a club legend there. Been throughout all the leagues with them. And at 36, he's not going to be a regular starter for them, is he? 6 starts for them so far this season, then 6 appearances off the bench, and you would say he's still doing the job for them. Let's next go for Nottingham Forest Joe Worrell. Been there all his career, obviously an academy graduate from Nottingham Forest, and I think he's a crucial first team player. I think that while he was out injured at the start of the season, they were really lacking his presence at the back, and I think that right now McKenna and Worrell are starting to form this partnership at the back, which long term could be quite decent for them going forward. Last season was absolutely massive for them, played every minute of every Championship match, and so for that reason I'd say he's a crucial first teamer for Forest. Next up we'll go for Bristol City's longest serving player. That's goalkeeper Max O'Leary. Now, tough one to judge really, because obviously Daniel Bentley's been absolutely fantastic so far this season for Bristol City, and while he's fit, he plays football matches, doesn't he? So to judge Max O'Leary is a bit of a tough one. Last season he was out on loan at Shrewsbury, but yeah, you'd probably throw him into that can do a job category, can't you? Next up we'll go for Blackburn Rovers Corey Evans. Been at the club since 2013. Over the years, no doubt been a regular starter and quite a crucial player for Blackburn in that midfield. Gives them a bit of energy and a bit of bite, but these days he's not playing all too much football, is he? Struggling with injuries. This season for Blackburn, just making the 5 starts for them, then the 2 sub appearances off the bench. Like I say, his availability just hasn't been there this season. You'd say that right now he's probably in and out of the squad, but is it time to go? I don't know. Blackburn fans, what do you think of Corey Evans at the moment? Luton's longest serving player is midfielder Pelly Ruddock, and I think that there's quite a lot to like about him actually, both as a footballer and his story with Luton in general. You know, how he's come up through the leagues with them, he's adapted to every new level that he's been at. He carries the ball quite well in midfield, and I'd say that he's a starter week in, week out, pretty much guaranteed, isn't he? Is he a crucial first teamer? I don't know, Luton fans, what do you think? Let me know down below. I'd easily put him into the top 2 categories. Sheffield Wednesday's Liam Palmer. Lately, you'd probably say he's been in and out of the side, but the last few times I've seen him play, he's actually done a fairly decent job for Sheffield Wednesday, obviously. Recently, they've had the option at right back to either play Palmer or Odebajo, but more recently, he has been playing sort of in a back 3. Probably would say he's in and out of the first team, though. Middlesbrough's Dale Fry is their longest serving player. I think that since bursting into the starting 11 for them, has been a regular starter, and probably even more so this year, has been probably a real crucial first team member. I think he fits well into either a back 4 or a back 3. Aerially, he's an absolutely dominant figure in the Championship, wins about 7 aerial duels per 90. Neil Warnock clearly rates him very highly, as do a lot of Middlesbrough fans, and for me, I'd say he's a crucial first team player. Next up to Stoke City's Ryan Shawcross, undoubtedly a key figure for this Stoke side over the years, really epitomised an era of the club as well, you know, signed for them in 2007, with them throughout their Premier League ride, but over the last couple of years has really struggled with injuries, which has been really unfortunate. Had that really nasty one last year, and he's been building himself back up ever since. Obviously, we've seen him in a couple of matches so far this season, cup competitions and things like that, so you'd probably say for this point of his career, he's probably going to be in and out of the first 11 depending on fitness. Next up we'll go for Rotherham United's Richard Wood, probably getting towards the twilight end of his career now, but has definitely still got a role to play in this Rotherham squad. They've of course got the option who to play at centre half. I think that Ahekwe pretty much starts every week if he's going to be fit, and then the other option is more so between probably McDonald and Richard Wood. And you'd probably say at this point of his career he is more in and out of the squad, isn't he? Definitely still got his role to play there though. Next up we'll go for Bournemouth Steve Cook, been at the club since 2011, undoubtedly an absolute legend there, well over 300 club appearances. I think he broke the 350 mark this season actually for Bournemouth, didn't he? Which is really impressive. And to be honest with you, I think you've got to throw him into that top category. I think that in terms of, I mean, he's still got it defensively, but as a leader in that team as well, more than anything, I think you've got to put him down as a crucial first team member. When he's fit, he plays. After that, we'll go for Huddersfield Town's Jonathan Hogg. Now, I quite like Jonathan Hogg. He's a really tenacious midfielder, breaks things up in the middle, isn't definitely afraid of sticking his foot in there. I think that's fair to say. And between the top 2 categories for him, he's easily a, you know, starter week in, week out, isn't he? And I think he's actually picked up an injury now. The question is, does this Huddersfield side sort of fall apart with Jonathan Hogg not in there? I think they're considerably weaker in the middle. I don't think that's up for debate. For the time being, I'm going to put him into that starter category, but I could be tempted to move him up. And then to finish things off with Watford captain Troy Deeney. What a player he's been there throughout the years, but right now, where would I place Troy Deeney into this category? For me, I'm stuck between 2 tiers, and they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. He's either a starter for them, or it's time to go. Watford as a football club, to really kick on and move forward, I feel like they might need to move past the whole Deeney and Gray thing they're angling for at the moment. Sometimes I think it can just be a good split for the player to get the move and for the club to go in a different direction as well. And I sort of feel on one way like that with Troy Deeney at Watford. I mean, he was very lucky not to get sent off at the weekend, wasn't he? I feel like it might be time to go, you know. Watford fans, what do you think of Troy Deeney and his long-term future at the club? Do you still see it being with Watford, or do you think it is coming towards the end now? I'm interested to know that one especially. But guys, there we have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. So this one was just for a little bit of fun, really. I always like doing videos like this where it takes a bit of research and digging into each individual club, and my opinion sort of spliced in there throughout, like I say. So if you're going to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and please do subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. But apart from that, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.